Hi everybody, it's Bart from Bart's Workshop, and today I'm going to be assembling some hoses to my compressor to get the air filter on there. Now the reason why I want to put this air filter on my compressor is when I have my airbrush, I want to make sure that the air going to the airbrush is clean and there's no water or any moisture coming out of my compressor that could mess up any of my airbrushing I'm going to do on my miniatures. Okay, so a few things I have here, I'll start with the tools, is I have some cutters, crescent wrench, 14mm wrench, 5/8 inch wrench, 9/16. I have 4 zip ties. Might only need 3 for this, but I have 4 of them anyways. Then I have some hose, okay, some air hose. This is about 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet of air hose. Some thread seal tape or Teflon tape. Okay, I got my air filter. Okay, so this basically filters the air when it comes from the air goes in one side, filters it through, and then when it comes out on the bottom side, it's already filtered in through that filter, which is right in the middle there. Okay, then I just have a couple of quick connect couplers, and there's the other side of the connector, some 90-degree elbows. Okay, just connectors. There's another one there. Okay, just different connectors, and then some odds and ends just to get this all wrapped up. Okay, so I got everything all kind of dry fitted in here, just make sure it'll work and everything's all good. So now it's just technically assembling it. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this compressor a little bit like this. So essentially what it's going to do is the air is coming out of here, which is the front of the compressor, from the tank. And because of the condensation of the air being squished in this tank, when it comes out, sometimes you have moisture. That's why there's a little release valve here where you can actually drain the water out of your tank once in a while. So what we're doing is we're going to take the air out of here, feed it out, put a 90-degree angle. Then we're going to take this air filter, feed it around here, put a 90-degree angle down at the bottom, put the hose all the way through the back, and then technically the hose will be hanging over here, and it'll have the quick coupler over here so that I can connect anything as far as my airbrush or anything else. Okay, so let's get started here. Okay, so first, so this is my quick connect, which is going to connect into here, just like that. Okay, so what we want to do is take this thread tape and we're going to wrap it around the thread. Let's see here. Just like that. Okay. Okay, so we wrapped it around. So now we got the actual Teflon on there. Okay, so now that we've got the Teflon on here, okay, that's going to go into there. Now we need a 90-degree angle for here, so we're going to feed this particular one over here, and now we're just going to basically put these together. Now when you're screwing this in, you want to make sure it's tight, but not too tight. As in, make sure the Teflon is actually grabbing it, not the actual thread. So in this case, I have to put a little bit more Teflon on here. What I do first is I do it by hand, and then once I screw it in by hand, then I can use the wrench for it. So what this Teflon tape does is technically seals the air from coming in between the threads of this 90-degree elbow and this actual coupler here. So okay, so we're just going to screw that together just like that. And you can feel it when you get the Teflon on there, that it's more smooth when it spins. So that's what we want to do. Okay, so what we want to do now is technically tighten that up a little bit with this wrench. this was, I believe, 9/16. Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to tighten that up. Okay, not too tight, but enough to give pressure. Okay, so that's tight. Okay, so this is going to feed over here, right? And now we want our air filter. So now we have to connect the air filter to this 90-degree elbow here. Okay, so again, we're going to put some Teflon on here. And technically you just put it right on the thread. It almost kind of sticks to the thread of the little elbow we have here. Okay, so we just covered the elbow with some Teflon here. So this is all good. Okay. And now we have the filter here. Now we're going to technically take the filter and screw it into the elbow like that. Okay. There you go. Now it's perfect. Okay, so we just want to tighten this up a little bit. So let's see if we got the proper wrench here. Oh, that's too small. It's 14. Okay. Oh, okay, so we're going to have to use this wrench over here. Okay. I think this one will fit that one. Oh. Looks like I might need another wrench, but I'm just going to tighten this by hand for now. Okay. So now it's tight. Okay. So now this will fit right into the compressor. Like that, okay? And it just technically hangs here, okay? But it's pretty solid. Okay, so now what we want to do is, I could put the 90-degree elbow over here, okay? But the challenge of this is the hose has to go down lower, so that's why I got this extra couple adapters here, so I can technically drop this. Let me just show this over here. Drop this lower, and now the hose will go underneath and without interfering with the tank, okay? Just pull this apart again, and guess what? We need more Teflon. We're going to put more Teflon on here. Okay, so now we have this part. Now we can put this adapter on it. And then we're going to put this part here, so we're back to the Teflon. And what we're going to do with this one is, because this has thread on both sides here, so we're going to actually put Teflon on both sides, might as well at the same time, so gets it done faster. Okay, and I'm just technically spinning the Teflon, gently kind of giving it a little bit of pressure here just to make sure it's on there properly. Okay, that's a lot of Teflon there, but that's okay. We're going to have a good seal, okay? Because again, if I were to screw this adapter into here and I didn't have the Teflon, you'd have some leakage of air in there, so this is actually better. Okay, now we're going to screw the this thread adapter to this one over here, okay? And then, so again, this just goes on here, and this adapter will go here. Okay, so we're just going to screw this onto here. Now what we want to make sure is that this part over here ends up on the same side as this. Whichever one we have to turn. Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, so technically it's pretty much, I'd say, the same way as I want it. Okay, now I probably want to pull it back just a little bit. Let's pull it. Let's do a little bit more. Do one more loop. Okay, now it's nice and tight. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so now it's going to go into here. So the next part is we want to put in the hose. So we're going to grab this hose. Let's just cut it over here. Okay, so now we figure out where the hose goes on my actual compressor. Okay, so let's bring this compressor closer to here. Okay, so we're going to take this hose and we'll feed it underneath. Okay, and then what we're going to do is feed it on top here. And I'm thinking probably something like this. Okay, or I can put this hose on the outside, which might be a little bit better. Okay. And now, okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to attach this part to the hose. Okay, so again, on the hose part, we're going to put some Teflon on here. Okay. And now we're going to attach my little filter fitting, I guess you want to call it, this guy here, onto my pipe. Turn that. Okay, just make sure it's pretty tight. Okay, so this will technically just pin into there. Okay, it's perfect. And then here's my compressor, and here's my pipe. So essentially what I want to do is now take this and then attach it over here. Oops, I guess this side. Okay, and then I'm going to fix this hose over here in a minute. And that will technically be it. Okay. So again, we're going to put some Teflon tape onto my threads here. Okay, so I got my Teflon on here, we got my quick connect on here. Okay. And I just have to technically put this hole over here, and I'll just like hang over here like that. Okay. Now, here comes the zip ties. So, if the hose looks good, I can technically attach it like this. Any other way I could do this, let's see. So I pull this out. So I have my hose over here. I could put it on the inside. It's potentially, let's see here, if I put it like this, or maybe like this would be better. Yeah, that actually might be a little bit better. With the exception of this over here. Let's see what we can do here. So we put this way. It's all about the zip ties. Maybe something like that might work. Okay, with the exception of this is being bent out. Okay, so it has to be on the outside. Okay, well then we put it on the outside here. Okay, so we're just going to let it technically hang like this, and we'll just tie it over here. In the back I don't really mind because I have a lot of room here in the shop, so it's no big deal. We're just going to zip tie this. And we'll put the tie that part at the bottom. Now, because this is the actual compressor, it's going to get hot. So what I'm going to do is it's not actually going to touch the compressor because I'm going to attach it to the pipe here. Right. Okay, and then I'm also going to strap it on this side. Okay. That's it, and I can actually attach one more up here. There's my 4th zip tie. Okay. There you go. So this looks good. So I'm going to cut off all my zip ties. Okay, so let's show you what we got here. Now what happens is the air comes out of the actual compressor, goes into this fitting over here, 90° down, goes through my actual filter. Filter goes down these fittings down here, another 90°, goes through the hose, goes through the back of the actual compressor, comes back to here, and here's my quick connect. Okay, so with this quick connect, now I can hook up my airbrush or anything else that I want, which is filtered. Now if I just want straight out, I do it like that, and technically now I have straight out of the compressor. So I haven't actually modified the compressor. The compressor is still original as it was before. I just made a small connector for it, and now I have air coming out here just for the airbrush. Okay, if I'm not using the airbrush, if I just want to just air for blowing off some of the equipment in the garage or whatnot, then what I can do is just pull this one off and hook it right up to the air outlet from the compressor. But in the meantime, click, it goes in. And here's my feed. Okay, so it's very simple. So there you go. So there's my hookup for my airbrush. So here's the actual airbrush. So on my next video, what I'm going to do is actually hook up my airbrush to the compressor, and then test it out. Maybe do a little bit of painting just to test out how the airbrush works. Try out the dual action of the airbrush, and then we'll post that up. Alright, thank you for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next video.